So my name's Emma. I work for Empower Development. I'm a trainer here, and we do insurance training across the market. We do quite a lot of CII stuff, but we also do soft skills training as well. If you can pop in the chat if you've got your exam coming up, have you booked your exam? When is it? Let me know. I always like to hear when those are. And I'll just share my screen and get cracking because we've got a lot to get through. IF2, there's a lot of information in here. If you can all make sure you're on mute as well, that'd be great, just so we don't get any background noise and there's no interference. If you do want to ask a question, my chat box will be open throughout the whole session. Please feel free to use that. And I will stick around at the end as well to answer any questions. Exam book for 30th of December. You want to get it done before the end of the year, Haley. 30th of December, wow. Chloe, I recognise you. I think maybe you're from our Facebook group. 2 weeks today, excellent. Well, I think that this is the perfect training to come to before your exam. Because it's just sort of going over everything little bits. Now, this by no stretch of the imagination will replace the book. We always recommend reading the book alongside any of our courses and alongside one of these sessions, because I cannot tell you everything because there's too much, but I will point out the main things of what you need to know and point you in the right direction of some stuff that you might get questioned on and the type of questions that you might expect. Okay. So the first chapter starts with motor insurance. And there's a lot of me just reading out lists of things for this. I do apologise, but IF2 is lots of lists of things that you have to remember. But hopefully it'll bring it to life a little bit more for you. So motor insurance, we have 4 levels of cover available for private motor insurance. We've got Road Traffic Act only cover, third-party only cover, third-party fire and theft, and comprehensive cover. So Road Traffic Act only, RTA we call it, is the minimum level of cover required by law. And this gives you unlimited liability for injury or death to any third parties, and also a 1.2 million limit for loss or damage to third-party property. So for third party, in addition to RTA cover, also covers 20 million third party property damage. That's a mouthful. Passenger indemnity and legal costs as well. So that's for your third party only. So this is just a little step up from the RTA cover, because we don't see people just having that level of cover. We don't see a lot of people just having third party only cover either. Because typically your comprehensive cover is usually the cheapest because it shows that you're willing to mitigate your sort of risk a lot more. So third party fire and theft, in addition to all of these things that we've just talked about in the RTA and the TPO cover, it also covers for repair or compensation if your vehicle is stolen or damaged. Covers for fire, lightning and explosion as well. And then we've got comprehensive cover, which is, I mentioned, is the highest level of cover, all risks basis. What all risks mean, we do mention that a couple of times in this course. All risk just means that everything's insured apart from any specific exclusions. And the exclusions are just listed at the bottom of the screen here, the comprehensive exclusions. So that's something to be mindful of. If it says all risks, you want to be looking for not what is covered, because it won't list that, it'll only list what isn't covered. Okay. So with motorcycle cover, there are the same levels of cover available for motorbikes, but there's just a few adjustments. So you're not covered for your accessories or spare parts unless the bike is stolen as well. Cover is for the insured and others permitted to drive the bike, ride the bike. And there is usually no personal accident cover or medical expenses either, because obviously it's a little bit more dangerous to be riding a motorcycle than in a car. There are extensions available, which I've listed in orange down below. So cover for riding other bikes, having more than one bike insured under a policy, etc. So for commercial motor, the range of commercial vehicles, the range of cover for commercial vehicles is the same as private motor. There's typically a standard wording that's used across all of these policies, and commercial motor policies can cover the following in respect of liability. So loading and unloading. So this is if any accidents occur during loading and unloading of the vehicle. Indemnity to the driver, so cover for any person who drives the vehicle with the permission or on the order of the insured. We've got indemnity to user as well, so the insured can allow someone to use the vehicle for social domestic purposes, even if they're not driving. Indemnity to passengers, so liability for passengers if they're negligent. And then we've got legal expenses. So just like private motor, commercial motor cover covers for certain legal costs as well, just the same as you get with your private car. So health insurance, moving from motor to health, can be broken down into three main parts, which I've got on the screen here. So firstly, we've got personal accident. So personal accident provides you with lump sum payments in respect of certain events. So it could be permanent, partial or total disablement, loss of sight in one eye or both eyes, death, things like that. We've got sickness. So sickness is usually, the cover for this is an extension to a personal accident policy. It gives you a weekly benefit for people who aren't able to perform any part of their normal job because of sickness. Under sickness and personal accident policies, there are some standard exclusions. So things like being under the influence of alcohol, self-inflicted injuries, accidents whilst driving, doing dangerous activities, childbirth, pregnancy. So you see sometimes some questions might be about, they give you a scenario and somebody injures themselves during childbirth. So it's important to note the exclusions so that you can pick it out from a lineup that would be an exclusion. And also there's like a buffer on the policy. So anything that happens in the first 21 days of the policy being put on cover isn't included. So you can't just take out a policy if something has already happened. So they always give you that 21 days. And it's also worth noting that they're not policies of indemnity. So you might remember that from your IF1, that they're benefit policies. So we can't put the person back in the same position they were before when it comes to sickness or personal accident, but we can work out from a financial perspective how we can sort of help them in that respect, which give them a benefit. And then finally, we've got medical expenses. So this is cover for private medical treatment outside of the NHS. So this could be for things like theatre fees, aftercare costs, hospital charges. It could be if you have got a specific surgeon who's going to be performing surgery, specialist fees, and any additional costs. It could be if you've had to ring an ambulance or things like that. So personal accident policies as well, something else to bear in mind in respect of the type of questions you might get. Personal accident policies cover people between 16 and 70. Sickness policies cover people between 16 and 60. So we see that coming up in questions quite a lot because you need to know the difference between those. So it's something worth bearing in mind. So package policies. So I've got a little picture of a present because that's how I see it. It's just where we've got it all boxed up and ready to go for a customer. So a package policy is where a customers need the same variety of different types of cover, and the insurer is going to put all of those elements of cover into a package, into a box, ready to go under one policy, just to save the policyholder having to find lots of different types of insurances. So the book IF2 looks at household, travel and commercial packages.